Hello everybody, Josh and Joe from PH Tennis back to do another versus video, a racket versus racket.
And it is a couple of high-end spin rackets today. We've got the Wilson Shift 99
and the Yonex VCORE 100. So we had a choice on the VCORE whether to go 100 or 98. We thought, especially because the Shift is 99, we'd go with the 100. So it's the same weight, they're both 300 grams, and also you get a bit more spin from the 198, so it should be more of a fair fight.
Yeah, so we're going to put the rackets through their paces on the same categories that we always do: power, spin, touch and feel, control and precision. And finally, if there's a tie break,
it's all about the looks. What racket do you want to pull out your bag and use?
So a little bit of spec on these rackets. The only difference really, again we said it's the same weight, it's a slightly bigger head on the VCORE and a slightly different string pattern. It's a 1620
as opposed to the 1619 more traditional string pattern in the VCORE.
So we're going to get on court, we're going to give it a try, we're going to see which one comes out on top.
Can we just put a quick disclaimer in?
Okay.
I've been on holiday for 3 weeks and I haven't played any tennis and I'm a little unfit.
And I've played a lot of tennis in the last few days and I'm very sore.
So no comments on the playing standard, please. Refer to previous videos if you want to make comments on that.
All right, let's go. Okay, so we've just come off court playing with the Wilson Shift 99
and that VCORE 100.
Still pretty hot. Some of the tennis was okay, some of it was a little scrappy.
We'll edit out the bad one.
Anyway, so I think both rackets are obviously very good. And we say this quite a lot, I think, but once you get to a certain level of racket, they are very good. And it just becomes kind of about preference, right?
Yeah, and I think these more than others, I think are very swing style dependent.
Yeah.
Rather than game style, swing style. If in short, with both of them, one to more extent than the other, which we'll get into, the longer your swing, the more kind of maybe modern your swing is.
Is it modern to be longer?
It's arguably yeah, but modern is kind of like the early 2000s. Now we're like postmodern.
Yeah.
So we've kind of gone back to smaller now.
Yes, okay.
But in that,
yeah, in a classic sense.
In that more classic long, big C-shaped take back and long follow through and generating loads of spin and having a long hit zone, long contact. They both play really nicely in that stuff, in that way. Yes, they do.
I think that there are a couple of things, obviously we'll get onto the sort of the actual versus element. There are a couple of things that stand out for me on the Shift. I find it very, there's not a lot of power, or you're not getting a lot of easy access to power. Yes, if you're big and you're swinging big, then you are getting some, but in terms of actually easy access to power, really struggling.
And that's basically what I mean by swing style makes a huge impact with these frames. If you have a short, compact, kind of punchy swing, you're trying to counter punch, maybe like return a serve, they don't feel great. And the Shift more so than the VCORE. The VCORE's got a little bit more punch to it.
Yes.
Not loads, but it's got some more to it. Whereas, say you're in more of a generic kind of baseline situation where you've got some time, probably they're both really going to feel better on a hard court where you generally get more time so you can have a longer swing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than what we're used to playing. This is quite a quick Astro.
Yeah.
And so that would also then kind of come into its own more in terms of generating some power, but it's certainly not the racket doing it, you're doing it because you have the time and the length of swing.
Yeah. If someone came to me and said, I really want a spin racket, this would be a racket that I would recommend. However, I don't know that I would recommend this as a spin racket. I would definitely recommend it as a racket overall because I think it's excellent, but I think it is very close to being the best all-rounder that we sell.
Yeah, so my only kind of come back to that. As it's such a good all-rounder, spin is part of that.
Of course,
so
yeah.
So it is good for spin.
Yes, it is good for spin.
It's just not shift or aero, or extreme good for spin.
Exactly. It's not a sort of one-dimensional. I actually think to me the better spin rackets are the VCORE, not giving anything away, but are the VCORE and the Extreme, whose focus is not necessarily spin, where spin is a leading factor, but actually an overall racket they do a little bit more. But there we go. These are spin rackets. They're in their spin range. Let's get to some results.
Everyone wants. Who wins?
Who wins? So we start with power.
The most important part.
Yeah, sure. And neither of these are particularly powerful frames in that sense of getting easy access to power. And that's kind of what we mean by that. It's not that any racket is just going to suddenly give you massive power. It's how easy it is to generate power.
The winner is... Drum roll, can you put sound effects on? No, proper sound.
Okay.
Maybe like Phil Collins in the corner.
All right, I'll put some sound effects on. The winner is the VCORE.
For sure.
Yeah, quite a lot more power actually. Easy access power, not like an E-Zone, which is Yonex's power frame, but especially with the 100, good access to power, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to save spin until the last, as these are spin rackets, but we'll move on to touch and feel. Yep. And the racket with the better touch and feel in our mind is...
the VCORE again.
The VCORE again.
I think there's an element here of the Yonex quality coming through.
Yes. Again, I think that there's something about the quality of the way Yonex makes it. This is more flexible as well, right? Definitely lower RA than the shift.
Obviously the shift is supposed to have flex in the other dimension, which doesn't necessarily help. Yeah,
exactly. But I think that the flexibility in the VCORE means that it is better for touch and feel than the shift.
Absolutely.
And for control and precision.
Yeah, so this is really when you kind of are opening up, attacking, long swing, maybe playing the ball quite flat.
Yeah.
That like real, think like that pro stuff.
Yeah, pro stuff, prestige.
Of accuracy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the top, we'll be getting top marks on it.
Yeah.
And so between these two, again, not a huge amount, and actually we probably didn't say that touch and feel.
No.
Once the VCORE wins, it's close.
Yeah, and it's very close on control for these. I think I know we're doing the 100 in the VCORE. If you wanted more control, if you wanted more precision, the VCORE 98 is the one to go for. These are very close in that area.
However, the winner of control and precision
is VCORE again.
VCORE again.
VCORE again.
Sorry, Wilson.
There you go. Which leads us on to spin. These are spin rackets. So again, very similar to if you've watched any of some of our power racket reviews. If you want true power, there's a particular racket to go for. If you really want spin, if you want that aero-like topspin generated, then there is only one winner in this category between these two rackets, and that is the shift, not the VCORE. So for pure spin, creating loads and loads of topspin, cutting under it and getting loads of slice, the shift does it beautifully well.
Yeah, you can really feel when you're receiving a ball from it that it has that extra bit of bite, and it's almost bounces steeper up at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can feel it incoming as well as you're putting it out there. You can, when you put it out there, you can kind of see the steepness of the drop.
Yeah.
Which is what gives then the bite up.
Yeah, for sure.
So to be fair, which is the better spin racket? The shift is. Which is the better overall racket? We think the VCORE is. So it depends exactly the style of play that you have and what you want out of your racket. It's a similar argument we had in the power rackets, where we thought the Pure Drive was the best power racket, but the better all-round racket in the power ranges was the E-Zone.
Yeah.
So, and there's a similar story here, interestingly, with Yonex being generally the better all-round racket, but not the best full spin.
And I think one thing you can definitely say about both these rackets is they are incredibly easy to just pick up and play. It doesn't really matter what racket you're coming from. You can take one of these rackets and go onto court and be like, oh, this is great. This is really nice. I can play with this easily. I can find the shots that I want in the various different ways, whether I'm attacking, whether I'm defending. Really easy to pick up and play with straight away, which is quite an impressive thing.
The other thing that we haven't commented on is actually serving.
Yes.
And that's what reminded me of that is, as I said at the start, I haven't played tennis for 3 weeks. Often the serve is one of the things that's harder to get back. But with both, I could just serve. Probably more so with the shift.
Interesting, yeah.
Than the VCORE. So I think serving for pick up and use and ease, the shift probably felt a bit better. once I got going, and maybe in terms of power and spin on the serve, the VCORE with that slightly denser frame almost for power probably comes into it a bit.
Yeah, but fantastic rackets. Again, our recommendation as always is to try them out yourself. We know how we feel about them. These are our reviews, and we hope that they help. But if you really want to know how it feels and if it's going to work for you, you've got to get out there and play with it.
As always, if you enjoyed this and you'd like us to compare these two rackets to other rackets or two completely different rackets to each other, please let us know in the comments. We'll be happy to do it. We really enjoy doing these videos. They're a new kind of way of us comparing rackets rather than just reviewing a singular racket.
And if you do want more information on either of these frames, we've got full reviews on the channel. Check those out if you want more information on the Shift or the VCORE or any of the rackets you might ever want to try. We've reviewed them. Check them out on our YouTube channel.